Hey, this for my receivers that have a lot of trouble winning their one-on-one matchups. You wondering why you can't win your one-on-one matchups. I'm gonna tell you, you end how you start. It's a lot that goes on with running a route. So what I wanna do in this video is I wanna break down from the beginning to the end on how to run your routes and win your one-on-one matchups. So when I talk about you end how you start, think about if you gotta run a corner route, you usually want your quarterback to throw you away from the defender, so you're running towards the sideline. It don't make no sense to line up on the numbers and break at the numbers. You're not giving yourself enough space to run away from the defender and your quarterback to put you towards that sideline. So you gotta you gotta start where you wanna end. So if you wanna end running away from the defender, headed to the sideline, you should probably break around that hash or 2 yards outside the hash. If you on a high school field, all right, when you're professional field, the hash is brought in a little bit more. But you want to be on a hash, you want to break around that hash and then run away from the defender, allow your quarterback to throw you away towards that sideline. So you got to know where you should end. That's going to help you with your alignment. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to break down from the start. So your coach gives you your route. Your route is to run the corner. When you break the huddle, you got to know where you want to line up to get to the place that you got to get to. So if I know I got to run the corner route and I want the quarterback to throw me over there, I want to break the huddle and I'm gonna start my alignment around here. Now, it's also going to depend on what the defense is running. So if they run in zone, you might have to cheat or play around with your alignment. But if they run a man, we're gonna go strictly off man. We're gonna bring that corner in to about apex in the numbers and the hash. Apex means we're gonna get into the middle of the numbers and the hash. And we know we wanna break around this apex area to when we make our break, we got room for the quarterback to throw us out towards the sideline. So in my head, I know when I start, I want to start in a position, a place on the field that's going to allow me to break and head towards the sideline. Same thing if we're running like a post. Coach give you a post. Depending on your scheme and where that post should end up, let's say that post is supposed to end up in the middle of the field. It don't make no sense to come to the bottom of the numbers if you want to get to the middle of the field. It's too far. All right, so you're going to have to cheat your alignment again. Inside, again, if it's man, you could probably be a little further out. But if it's cover two, you're going to have to come towards the hash so we can split the two safeties. So a lot is going to go into you thinking about how to line up. You know, like I said, first you got to know where you want to end. Then you're going to look at the defense to figure out, all right, are they in man? Are they in cover three? Are they in cover two? You know, what defenders are going to be in that area? How can I attack that defender's leverage? There's a lot of things that go into you deciding on your alignment. Now, your coach should already have all of that laid out for you. Your coach should already know, exactly when they're going to call to certain plays that's going to have these certain routes on it against certain coverages and where he wants you to align. So you're going to have a base alignment from your coach that tells you how to line up, So I'm just going over something that can help you an in-game decision, making in-game decisions to make sure that you get exactly to where you want to get to. So we got the alignment down pat. All right, we know if we want to get somewhere, we should have our alignment to make sure that we can break and run towards that area. Now, from the alignment, we're going to go off the release. So we go off of off man first. So if you got that DB playing off man, you want to learn how to attack his leverage. So let's say we got to run that corner route again, right? So the DB is going to cheat inside. He's going to be on our inside shade, our inside of our shoulder. So we line up. He's on our inside shade. We want to attack his inside shoulder. It don't make no sense to attack his outside shoulder. Now where we going? We pushing our alignment out. Now we got nowhere to run out. All right. Also, if we attack his inside shoulder, we're not doing nothing to stress that DB. So he's basically going to be sitting here waiting for us to break. So we're not stressing his inside leverage. We're just sitting here waiting for the receiver to make his break and we pushing out. So you're not doing nothing for that DB to make him think you're going in. So as he's got that inside shade on you, what you want to do is you want to attack his inside leverage. So you got to attack his inside shoulder coming here to push him and stress him inside. And then as you get to your break point, you give him one jab in and then we break out. So you got to learn how to attack those DB leverages. All right. So let's say he's press man. Press man, you want to I don't like having certain releases, you know, because when you have a certain release, you pretty much leave yourself vulnerable to stick to that same release if something happens, you know what I'm saying? So like I like to just react off a defender. So I let the defender tell me exactly what I want to do. So we got to know exactly where we want to get to. So that's going to help us to know we're going inside or outside release. So let's say we got to run a corner route. If we run a corner route, it don't make no sense to try to beat the press this way because a good DB is just going to lean on you and push you in. If you got to get outside, it's going to be hard for you to get outside there. All right, so if you got to run a corner route, your leverage again is going to bring you down. I mean, your alignment is going to bring you down, and you want to be able to have an outside release and stack the receiver. That way, stack the DB. That way, you have room to break towards the sideline. So again, if you got to run a post, it don't make no sense to have an outside release to run inside because a good DB is just going to wall you off and make it hard for you to get inside. So you got to learn exactly where you want to get to have those releases. All right, so like I was saying before, I don't like to have a certain type of release before I, get up to the line. I basically know, all right, if I want to get inside, I'm going to wait to see what this DB is going to do. So if he's pressing me, I'm going to give him a jab and wait to see if he wants to be physical and get hands on me, then I hand fight him. But if he's more patient and he sits back, that jab is going to take him off of his, focus sometimes. So if it does, that way I can make my moves and do whatever I want to do. So if he doesn't be physical and he's patient for me, if I want to go inside, I'm going to give him an inside jab first, outside, and then come back. All right. If I want to go outside, I'm going to give him that jab, wait to see what he does. If he's patient, I'm going to fake out and then come back out. But I don't like to, if they're pressing, I don't like to attack right away because physical DBs, if they want to be physical and they want to attack me, I'm going to, set myself up for failure if I try to attack him right away. So I'm going to wait to see what he does. So all you need is that split second. Sit, hit. Oh, that's all you need. Once you do this, you're going to see what he does, and then you react off of that. One of my favorite of all time, my favorite basketball players is AI, but right now playing, is Kyrie Irving. So a lot of basketball players, they talk about the way Kyrie Irving plays. He can do anything on the court. He can do anything he want to do because he don't have a specific move that he's doing to you in the moment. He's basically reacting off of what the defender's doing before he makes his move. So he could pretty much do whatever he want to do to get his score by reacting off of what the defender does. So that's pretty much what I do here is I wait for the defender to do whatever he want to do, and I'm going to react off of that and beat that. So put that into your arsenal. Help, train yourself to react off of the defender to make your moves and then get into your route. So like I said, you want to release off the press. If you go on the inside route, you want to have inside release. If you go on the outside route, you want to have that outside release. So now we're getting up the field. So let's say off man, we getting up the field, we attacking his leverage. Again, you gotta learn how to jab. So a lot of young receivers, when they attack or when they get into their break mode, they have to stop to make a fake. You can't stop to make your fakes. You got to continue to gain ground up the field. So you got to be more fluent in your route running as to when you coming up the field, you breaking out, you 1, 2, 3. All right. You can do all of that as you're gaining ground to make sure you're still stressing that DB. But if you come to a stop and you break, you up the field and you gotta here and you're not gaining ground, you're not stressing that DB, you make it easier for him to react. But if you closing that cushion as doing your fakes and doing your breaks, you're putting stress to that DB, and it's gonna be harder for him to react as you squeeze his cushion. So teach yourself how to run your route and you up the field and you're making your breaks again without coming to that stop. All right, you gotta work on getting up the field in each step that you take. So like I said, he's off man. We gotta learn how to attack that cushion, attack his leverage. But now as we making our breaks, we don't wanna come to a stop to make your break. You wanna still be moving up the field as you make your breaks. So the same thing I said with, My press release, I like that rocket step where you attack. If you going outside, your fake step is outside, inside, and then we back out. All right, because most smart DBs, they wait for that second break. So as you attacking him, he's gonna wait for you to do this, and then he thinks you're coming back. But as you do this, he's breaking there, and then you coming back this way. All right, so learn that move, put that one in your arsenal, help you run your routes. So let's say they press, we breaking press release. Like I mentioned before, if you wanna run a post, you're gonna have an inside release, but as you inside, you gotta stack the DB, meaning you gotta get more in front of the DB to keep him behind you. Now as your leverage is here, you can break and fake whichever way you wanna get to. So like I mentioned, with the off release or the off coverage, you gotta attack that leverage or that cushion of the DB. You can't come to a stop when you're making your break. So same thing when you stack the receiver, stack the DB, you can't come to a stop to make your break. You still gotta be going upfield and keep it fluent to gain ground and run away from that DB. So you gotta know when you're coming out of your break, you gotta make sure that you're actually having a stride. All right, you gotta run away from that DB. So it don't make sense, or you won't be able to run away from him if you break and you got these short choppy steps. So when you come out of your break, you gotta make sure that you gain ground by creating your stride and running away from that DB. All right, you gotta push off. The route's not over at the break. So if you beat him on the break, but you can't run away from him, you're not gonna win that route. So you gotta beat him on the break, but still be able to run away from him by having that good stride, and letting the quarterback lead you in front. So the last part of the route is catching the ball. So if you lucky enough to have a quarterback that has a real strong arm and you faster than the DB and you running away and the quarterback knows how to lead you to allow you to run under it, you obviously run under it with your hands facing out. All right, palms facing up, But if anything's underthrown for a deep route, you got to learn how to attack the ball. You got to go up and get the ball because DBs are taught to attack the ball. They are taught to go up and get it. Well, nowadays, I don't know what they taught because I see a lot of DBs not even looking back for the ball. But, as I was coming up and the DBs that I train and I teach them to go up and attack the ball, box the receiver out. So you got to do the same thing. If that ball's underthrown, you can't wait for it to land in the pocket. You got to go up and attack it and get it and be strong with your arms, be strong with your hands and rip that ball away from the DB as you come down. It's a lot that goes into running a route and winning your one-on-one matchups. And this video is just a breakdown from beginning to end to help you win more in your one-on-one matchups. Remember, you end how you start. So from the beginning, from the time you get the play call, know your alignment. At the alignment, know your release, know how you're gonna attack the DB. After you attack, know your breaks, know how you're gonna break. Gaining ground, don't come to a stop. When you make your break, make sure you get into that stride, you running away from the DB, and then you attacking the ball. You focus on that ball coming in and it's hitting your hands. You got good hand-eye coordination. All right, one thing I didn't mention, if you got that deep ball coming up, make sure your hands is up, not down, because if your hands is down, your eyes won't follow it down. All right, if your hands is up, it's easier for your eyes to follow the ball into your hands. All right, so that's another bonus tip that you can have to win those one-on-one matchups. Look, I hope this helped you. Remember, be better than they say. Until next time, let's get it.